Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is that you are watching this video. This is a video for Sagittarius, so sun, moon, or rising Sages. We are going to, this is a really fun one. I've used this spread once before. It's an exploring your inner teenager spread. And the last time I did this, it was really cool. I did this, I believe, for a set of horoscopes. So I did this for all signs, and it was so fun. But before we get started, I want to just invite you to join me on a little guided meditation. So we're going to go back and visit your teenage self. So I'd like to invite you to just get comfortable, get cozy, close your eyes, if you will, and take 3 deep breaths with me real quick. In through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Once more. And exhale. Just kidding, this is the last one. Deep inhale. And exhale. All right, now still with your eyes closed in your mind's eye, I want you to go visit your teenage self. If this was your childhood home, or if you lived in wherever you were living as a teenager, go back to that place and you walk up the stairs, or go navigate the house as it was. When you get to your teenage self's room, I want you to knock on the door and see if they'll let you in. All right, hopefully they let you in. If they didn't, that's okay. We're still going to connect with their energy, but it would be interesting to note if your teenage self was a little irritated with you or just the world in general. Sometimes when I visit my inner teenager, she's just super depressed and doesn't want to come out. But if your teenage self will let you come in, then go inside and maybe sit down with them, check in with them, see how their mood is. Just note their emotional state. And then while we're in that space, I want you to check in with your inner teen and see if they require anything from you. If there's anything that they need from you right now that maybe they're not getting in their life. My inner teenager needs a hug, but she won't tell me that she needs a hug. So I'm going to give her one anyways. And she's like very reluctant, but she's kind of accepting it. So just give them what they need, whether it's support or love, a hug, or even like a high five, or if they just need someone to vent to, you can just kind of like listen. And you can take as long as you want with this. If you want to pause the video and like really spend time in this space, please feel free. But when you're finished, I would like you to then, after you give them whatever they need, invite them to participate in today's reading. So, inner teenager, I would love your insight into my current life. I would love to see how you feel about how I'm living now, and your input is welcome and appreciated. So if you would like to join us for today's reading, we would really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so we're ready. We're just going to dive into this. We're going to look at 7 things. So we're going to look at what your inner teen's energy looks like currently, what recent moment in your life they would like to reflect on, what feelings resonate most with them, how you can make them feel more safe and seen, what they need from you most to flourish, words on how to work together, how you can work with your inner teenager, and then a little bonus one, just how they feel about who we've become, right? So again, this is a reading for Sagittarius. I've started to do some zodiac readings lately. I like them. Hopefully you guys do too. Oh, and this is Cosmic Lovers Tarot. If you are just joining me, welcome. All right, let's get into this. So we're looking at Sagittarius's inner teenager. Sagittarius' inner teenager. How do they currently feel? Whoa. All right. Right out the gate, we've got the Eight of Swords, guys. Looks like your teen is going through some anxiety. I actually specifically feel like this is anxiety in regards to someone else. Maybe peers at school. I'm getting some peer pressure going on. So some of you might have an inner teen that is struggling to fit in, and having some difficulties knowing how to stand their ground because they're not entirely sure who they are, right? So I feel for them because it is, the teenage years are such a difficult time because you're trying to navigate these social pressures, but then you're not totally sure who you are yet. And so, you're trying to make sure that you're authentic. I think that all of us as teenagers, teenagers are at the point where they're really becoming their own selves. They're starting to separate from their parents, and it's a big, huge, monumental time because it forms the crux of your identity. It's the first choices that you make completely autonomously. And some teenagers go the route of like, I am nothing like my parents. I don't want anything to do with them. I'm, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of what they expect of me. And some teenagers tend to fall in line more and become, more assimilated with their family's not demands, but desires for them, right? So yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of peer pressure going on right now for your guys' inner teenager, whether that is from people at school or from family or other communities. We're gonna look at, some of you might have been dancers. I don't know if that's my inner teenager energy coming through or yours, but something about dance is coming up, like maybe being pressured to dance. Oh, okay. So what recent moment they would like to reflect on? We've got the Three of Wands. I'm getting the sense that they're really proud of you for something that you've just done. Obviously, you guys might be musicians, but I'm definitely getting the sense that this is an artistic expenditure that you've just gone through. So you've taken a leap of faith at some point, and you have chosen to put yourself out there in a really cool way. You've either decided to start a YouTube channel or a TikTok, or you've got a Patreon, and I'm getting the sense that you had a normal 9-to-5 job, and then you started learning something, and it's really cool because, and this is like what I'm getting the sense that like it's possible that you had a dream of something that you wanted to do very much when you were a teenager, and you have recently decided to pick that up and go for it, even though you're kind of starting like from the brand new, and you're kind of wobbly, and you're unsure of yourself, and you feel kind of like, oh my God, this is so stupid. Like, at this stage in my life, am I really going to do this? But your inner teenager is super proud of you. And also, the Three of Wands talks about expansion, and oh man, this is awesome. Your inner teenager is like brimming over with excitement for you, because whatever it is that you've done, whatever it is that you've chosen to like expand and learn, your inner teenager is just over the moon, excited about what the possibilities of that are, where it's going to take you in your life. Oh man, your inner teenager thinks that you are like going to travel the world on this thing. So whatever this thing is that you've learned, and I'm not saying this is accurate or not, but I'm getting the sense, Sagittarius, that you are kind of a more stable, grounded person. Maybe you had big dreams in the past and you let them go because you decided to be more reasonable, reliable, dependable, that kind of thing. You kind of shelved your dreams of travel, and kind of like, hitting the road and doing something like that, going to festivals, touring, that kind of thing. But I'm using music analogies probably because there's music here, but it could be anything. It could be going on a book tour. It could be, I don't know, even like traveling in terms of like the military. I don't know why that's coming through, but just things like that. Whatever it is, your inner teenager is so excited about what is in store for you. They're like, oh my God, like this is going to change our lives. You know, it's really, really cool. Very cool energy. So what feelings resonate most with your inner teen right now? I'm getting the sense that also that your inner teenager feels a little neglected and overlooked, which doesn't surprise me because we talk a lot about inner children, inner child work, but we don't talk a lot about inner teenager work. So might be a cool like meditation practice or something for you to look into. Okay, so we got what feelings resonate most with your inner teen. We got the Jack of Hearts, which is one of the clubs, but this is a Jane Austen tarot deck. It's only 53 cards. It's really interesting. I've been trying to work with it more because it intimidates the hell out of me. So I am going to actually do a little bit of research here and just make sure that I get this correct before we move forward. Okay, the Jack of Hearts is charm. Okay. So I'm feeling a little bit like your inner teenager is feeling like people are paying attention to them for the wrong reason. So it's interesting because I get this sense of isolation here with this Eight of Swords energy is like, oh, you know what? Your inner teenager feels like they are surrounded by people, but no one is listening to them. There's a line in Titanic where Rose says, I feel like I'm standing in the middle of a crowded room and I'm screaming and nobody even looks up. That's how your inner teenager feels. Like, why is it that I'm surrounded? I'm getting the sense actually that you're pretty popular, or your inner teenager, your teenage self was very popular and you had a lot of friends, but I don't know if you had some trauma or something happen that caused you to kind of isolate your true self. I'm seeing this now, this Eight of Swords and this dichotomy here as like the you that you show to everybody else. Like here. So like this person here, this is like how you showed yourself to everyone. And you see how she has like, she's in red and she has this little tiny bit of blue here. This is like your true self. Your true self is hiding back here. So you carry a little bit of your true self with you into your interactions, but you feel fake. And so there's a lot of like imposter syndrome going on with you because you're worried about your authenticity. And you're worried that you're not showing yourself accurately to everyone. And like I already said, you know, a lot of that is because as we're teenagers, we're still trying to figure out who we are. And that's what I was going to get into is like, I think that teenagers care most about being authentic, you know? I think there's a common misconception, especially among adults, who say that teenagers just like to blend in with the crowd and they, you know, peer pressure and they're following suit. You know, they're falling in line with their friends. You know, if you jumped off a bridge, would all your, you know, if your friends jumped off a bridge, you would too, that kind of thing. But that's the opposite of what I'm feeling here. It's more like I want to be myself so badly. Like that's your teenage voice is like, I want to be me. I just don't know who I am. And I'm trying so hard to figure it out. And yet I'm surrounded by these people and people expect things of me. But all I want is to be my genuine self, but I can't figure out who that is or what that is, right? So yeah, there's a lot of attention being paid on you guys right now, but you're wary of it and it's having like the opposite effect. You're getting a little bit of burnout from this. So how can we make your inner teen feel more safe and seen? Okay. 5 of Swords. Definitely listening to them. Your inner teen has trust issues. definite trust issues. And I'm getting the sense that your inner teen is their own worst critic, you know? This is a card that often comes up for me in regards to self-sabotage, but I feel like this is more of an indicator of how harsh your teen is being on yourself. I'm getting the sense that you had a lot of expectations placed on you as a teenager, either from your family or from yourself, or a rigorous academic program, or just like these expectations that you may have carried with you into adulthood. And your inner teen wants you to slow down and take the time to not only appreciate how far you've come, but also there's a little bit of energy here of your teen is, your teen wants you to understand where your trust issues come from. Okay, this is a big deal. So for some reason, okay, so something happened in your past, guys, right around the teenage years. I think it had something to do with a romantic partner. I think it had something to do with your first, like, serious relationship. I'm remembering my first relationship, so, like, serious relationship, and a lot of the negative aspects of that and how I carried that through into my adulthood. So I'm pretty sure that something happened in your first, like, in your, one of your first major relationships that has caused you to have trust issues to this day when it comes to romantic partners. And it's something about your romantic partner not being genuine with you. And I know we already talked about authenticity and you and your desire to be authentic. Okay, it could be one of two things. It could be that your partner told you that you were fake and accused you. Like, okay, you know how you get into those fights when you're a teenager and they're so vicious. Like, I don't know how like when I was from the ages of 16 to 25, I think I said the most awful things to people that I've ever said. I mean, thankfully you grow out of that. But a lot of it is, I was actually just reading something today about chakras. I've been working on a chakra balancing opening meditation series and talking specifically about this thing that happens called, like, snake tongue. But basically it's if your chakras are out of balance, which I think most of us are, most of ours are, we have to work to balance them, I believe. I think, don't quote me on that. But what happens when we're triggered in some way is it's a burst of energy that starts at a chakra point and ping pongs around. And they say, at least this random thing that I read today, is something someone said on Reddit. So it's not like super scientific or anything, but I liked where they went with it. They said that when you get triggered, you get a blast of energy into one chakra and it ping pongs through the others and eventually explodes out through your mouth and, like, through your throat chakra. And if your chakras are in balance, that can cause something called serpent tongue, which is basically just when you lash out at people and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. You know, it's like that. So I'm feeling like you had some early relationships in which that was happening. Maybe you were dating someone who was traumatized themselves and they said some things to you that were really hurtful. And I think that at the time you were like, oh, fuck them, it doesn't matter. But now your inner teenager wants to call to your attention that now you are distrustful of people on a deep level because of some things that were said to you. Like, basically, things were said to you that hurt you. And instead of being able to acknowledge and recognize that you were hurt, you walled up and said, oh no, that didn't hurt me, I'm fine. And this is just kind of like a, hey, I don't think you were totally fine with that, as you shouldn't have been. And I really think it had something to do with you being inauthentic. Like, somebody called you out for being fake. I'm seeing you, like, as part of a group, and maybe after the breakup, the group kind of unfriended you, or like you lost your sense of identity after your relationship ended or something like that. So it was something about an early relationship, one of the first, and after the breakup, you lost a lot. You might have lost your sense of identity. You might have lost like your group, and a lot of us identify in terms of groups as a teenager. So something happened that caused you to like reevaluate everything in your life, and it just it was difficult. And what does your inner teen need from you most to flourish? Okay. Ace of Swords in reverse. Yeah, this is all about going back to a previous, analyzing your thought patterns and going back through them and getting to the source of this original hurt. So yeah, like I said, there was something that caused you to rethink yourself and also and doubt yourself. So whereas the Ace of Swords is a brand new thought, and it shoots through us. It's like, aha, it's a beautiful epiphany, right? But that being said, we can also have negative epiphanies. We can have moments that shatter our self-confidence and shatter our we mostly bounce back from them, but what happens is in our brain, it's like you have these brain grooves and you've thought this way about yourself, okay, I am this person, I do this, I am, and then something happens, and again, it's like somebody's words cut to you. Somebody's words cut you in such a way that you recoiled from it and you were like, oh my God. And then you began to doubt yourself. And I don't think that you have completely not just healed from that, but even really acknowledged that it happened to this day. Which is totally fine, it's just something that your inner teenager wants you to pay attention to, especially if you're having relationship problems, like if you're finding it difficult to connect to people, difficult to trust people. I would definitely go back to this moment, and what I'm seeing that your inner teen needs the most during that moment is, this is a situation that you went through alone, and your inner teen needs you to show up and validate them. Like, validate them completely. Like, just be like, look, fuck that guy or fuck that girl. They don't matter, and you are whole in and of yourself. You are valid, and yeah. So, basically, yes. Something happened. Someone said something to you that cut you to your core and messed with your ability to trust people, and not just trust people, but trust. It's almost like, okay, so somebody said something to you that was so hurtful that in order to believe that they were telling the truth, you would have had to renegotiate your entire identity. Instead of doing that, you dismissed everything that they said and decided that they were a liar. It's kind of like black and white thinking. But in order to do that, you then had to make the jump that then everything that they had told you was a lie leading up to that point. It's almost like, it was kind of like a snowball effect where you had a thought and it didn't work out. It didn't pan out. Or you had a relationship, it didn't pan out the way you wanted. And so you kind of, I don't know, did an accidental rewrite in your head or something like that in order to make it work. It's very messy and it's very complicated. This whole thing, in my head, trying to explore it is very complicated. And I think that might be, but anyways, the crux of it and the most, if that resonates with you, then I'm not saying that you need to go all the way back to that and untangle everything and make it make sense. I guess what I'm saying is there's some there's some unresolved conflict back there that just needs to be addressed and like, and weeded out a little bit. So like, and mostly, honestly, guys, I think that really all that needs to be done is that that hurt needs to be acknowledged. Like, all I'm seeing that this whole situation for you, in terms of like what your teenager wants you to do. And I should say, by the way, that doing teenager readings is really interesting because teenagers make everything so dramatic. And so there's a little bit of that drama that comes through in the reading. So I apologize if I'm like, oh my God, this is what has to be done, because obviously it's not, nothing is really as dire as the teenagers make it out to be. But that being said, there is definitely something in your past that you would benefit from acknowledging that there was a pain that happened. And yeah, like I said, all of this will be fine if there's just a little bit of acknowledgement, like going back, sitting with your teen and saying, hey, like that really sucked. Are you okay? You know? Okay. So we're going to look at now, this is how your teen thinks that you can work together. Yeah, wow, okay. So yeah, so we're looking at, so we got the stars, your bottom of the deck energy, just a little sneak peek there. So lots of hope. Man, your teenager is so excited for whatever you have got going on, guys. This is really, really cool. Yeah, they are super excited for this, whatever this expansion thing that you're doing is, with your life, whatever recent thing that you've taken on. But they do feel like you're carrying some baggage from the past, and that you've been carrying it for a long time. And it's almost like they're saying, like, don't worry, I'll be okay, or I'll be fine, which is interesting. I'm sensing you as like a really tough person, like a person that has a very tough external character, really tough, like, and it's not even external, like you are just super resilient and you don't like to dwell on the negativity in your life, which makes absolute sense. But okay, so now I'm seeing these swords as invisible, right? And this is what your inner teenager wants to say, is like, yes, you are fine, but also there's certain traumas that just hang out and they're not really noticeable, right? Because you're still moving. Like, you're making progress, you're achieving your goals, but you're carrying with you this baggage. And your inner teenager just thinks that you'd feel a lot lighter if you would go back to the source of it and just acknowledge that the pain happened and just get over it, you know? Oh, how they feel about who we've become. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, they're excited. They actually feel like you're really in alignment. Oh, this is funny. So your teenager actually feels like you are someone that they never thought that they would be. So, like, for whatever reason, this goes back to you being really hard on yourself as a teenager. You know, your inner teenager is like, what? We turned out to be that? Like, but in a good way. Like, well, kind of. Okay, there's a little bit of a mixed message here. Your inner teenager thinks that you are a little bit boring, but like boring, but just because they thought that you would be traveling 24/7. I see your teenager thinking that you were just going to be like rock star party people, you know, trashing hotel rooms and getting drunk till 4 a.m. and just like, you know, kind of raging. Although I don't get the sense that you were like that as a teenager. That was just like what you wanted to, that's what you aspired to be. And so now, like, you're this steady, reliable person who's like making forward motion in your life. And they're like, what? Like, we have a morning routine? You know, they're kind of shocked at what you've become, but they also love it, in their own way. They don't want to show it because they're like, you know, they still have this chip on their shoulder about like being a rock star. And yeah, this star at the end, is really sweet, really, really sweet energy. They are so excited for the future. the future that you have, the future that you guys are crafting together. They are just like, they're over the moon. They really are. And yeah, other than that, guys, just a little bit of, I have the sense that if you're watching this reading, you know what this incident is in your past. Like I said, it had something to do with someone that you dated or a friend group, feeling isolated, feeling alienated, feeling like your identity got ripped apart. It was a thought process that caused you a lot of pain. It might have been a betrayal, something like that. There was something that happened in your past. It's causing kind of a ripple effect of trust issues now in your future. And your inner child says, or your inner teenager says, if you just spend a little bit of time meditating on that, going back to that place and just sitting with them and saying, hey, I acknowledge your pain. I validate you. I affirm you. I think you're amazing. I don't think you did anything wrong. And even just kind of like, like I said, like being like, fuck them, fuck those losers or whatever. Like whatever your inner teenager needs to hear, needs to feel, needs to be offered during that time, go offer that. And I think you're going to see a lot of positive changes coming through for you, especially in the realm of relationships and romantic relationships. So thank you. That is all I have for you today, Sagittarius. It was my pleasure to read for you. I really appreciate you letting me read your cards. It was so fun. And yeah, hopefully we'll do this again sometime. My channel is Cosmic Lovers Tarot. I'm on Instagram. I try to post here as often as I can. And yeah, if you liked the content, please like and subscribe and leave a message down below if this resonated with you. I would love to hear if this was your reading, how you related to it, and if you feel like sharing what the incident was, I'd love to hear about that. So if there's anything you want to chat about, just feel free, and have a great rest of your day.